Hi, in this demo project we're going to look at setting up a project for Oculus headsets, namely the Quest 2, and bringing some Tilt Brush models in and using them within Unity. So we're going to start with a basic 3D core package project and call it Tilt Brush Demo VR. Once that's loaded in, we'll create our own scene. So right click, create scene, call it Tilt Brush Demo, and then double click on that one to enter our scene. We'll then just start to update some of the settings needed so that we can use it in VR. Firstly, you go to File, Build Settings, and switch to the Android platform. That can take a few moments. And then we'll go to the Unity Asset Store and download the Oculus Integration package, which has lots of sample scenes and elements needed to use the Oculus headsets in Unity. So just click Open in Unity, and then it will bring up your package manager and should auto select the Oculus Integration. Mine says re-download, but yours will be download if it's the first time, and then click Import. And then when it comes up with the options of what to import, just bring everything in. Now, I'm opting not to upgrade the plugin on this test, just because it takes a little bit of time, so I just wanted to skip that. Then need to bring in the XR plugin management. So that is under Edit, Project Settings, XR plugin management, and click Install. And once that one's installed, it will have another little drop down. I need to click on Oculus to bring in the specific things for Oculus. Just double check that Quest and Quest 2 are selected. So we're now just going to enter one of the sample scenes set up by Oculus in the integration package. And we've gone for the hand test. In this one, they've already set up a camera rig for us, and it's got all the various controllers available that we might need when we're developing for Oculus. One thing that we need to change is the tracking height. Just tells the camera how high it should be in reference to the floor. Another change we're going to have to make is switch the color space to linear from gamma. So that's in Edit, Project Settings, Player, and then color space, and just switch that from gamma to linear. Once that's switched over, we'll just add our company name into the player settings. It's not required for this test, but always good practice just to make sure that it references back to yourself. And then so that we're able to play back the editor within the headset, you go to the XR plugin management and make sure that Oculus is clicked under the desktop settings as well as the Android. So now we're going to start building our rig based on the example one that they've set up in their hand test. So we click on the drop down arrow to look at our controllers and see what's going on in there. So as you can see, they've got all the presets for the different types of controller, and we only want the ones for the Quest 2. So we're going to right click, prefab, unpack the prefab so that we can manipulate it. And we're going to click on the Quest 2 and drag that one out and bring it up right under the anchor. Same for the right hand. We're going to turn off the bits that we don't need. Just make sure that our Quest headset is connected via the Oculus link. And click play. And we can now view that scene, view our controller models back through the headset. So to bring that into our Tilt Brush scene now, we go to our scene and we use something called Open Scene Additive. What that does is it opens both scenes at the same time and allows us to drag and drop objects between them. So we'll make a duplicate of that camera rig that we just edited and drag it into our Tilt Brush scene. And then we will remove the test scene from Oculus and do not save, so that you've always got a fresh reference scene if you need to go back and do another rig. So now we've got a rig set up with Quest 2 controllers in our Tilt Brush scene. We'll just drag and drop in our Tilt Brush model. Just drag it into your assets folder. And we'll drag and drop in the Tilt Brush Toolkit package. Now we'll just remove a couple of items in here because they're outdated and they cause conflicts when they bring them in. So just remove the assemblies folder, AOT, standalone, and Windows, and import. As that's importing, it will tell you that some of the assemblies are out of date. Have you made a backup? Yeah, that's fine. Just go ahead for that one. Again, it's prompted me to update that spatializer, so I'm just ignoring that for the moment. Now that that package is in, we'll just make sure that our camera rig is at 0, everything's at 0, and we'll remove the extra main camera because we've got our one on our rig now. So go into our Tilt Brush model and drag and drop. Again, we'll just make sure that that's at 0. And there it is. I know it's very basic, but my Tilt Brush modeling skills aren't up to much. It's just for an example. So now when we click play and put the headset on, we can view the model in the Oculus headset. So now that we've proved that that's working, we can view that in the headset with the controllers. We're going to use on trigger enter to enable and disable the object. So we'll go down and select the left-hand anchor in the hierarchy, and we'll add a sphere to that object. We'll just bring the scale of that right down so it looks approximately like it does in this example here. And on its sphere collider, click add trigger. we're going to add a rigid body to it. Make sure to turn off use gravity and turn on is kinematic. And we'll just duplicate that setup sphere and now add it to the right hand anchor as well. Once we rename those, we'll just add a cube to the scene, which can be used to activate it with our when touched with our spheres. So again, make sure it's at 0, and then move it just a little bit in front of the rig so that we can just easily reach out and touch it. And let's give ourselves a floor as well. So let's right click 3D plane. And let's add a little bit of color to the scene. So we're going to right click, create material, and call it floor. Drag it onto the floor and adjust the color in the color box. Now, the smoothness is a very quick one to move about, and that basically changes how shiny that material is. So we'll bring the smoothness and shiny element right down, and we'll duplicate our floor material and recall it cube, and we'll just change the color of that to sort of an orangey color and drag that onto our cube. And we'll just make that a bit smaller, it's still a bit big. Great. Just rename our objects so that we can keep track of what we've got in the hierarchy. And start to write our script. So right click, create C# script, and we'll call it exactly what it does, which is going to be the activate tilt brush model. Double click on that one. And Unity has added the spatializer anyway that we were trying to ignore, so we'll skip that restart for the moment. Clear any errors that are coming up there. So to start off our script, we're going to have a public game object reference to our tilt brush model, which we will call tilt brush model. Finish with a semicolon. And create our onTriggerEnter function with public void onTriggerEnter. And as you're typing out, you can select it from the list and press enter. And we'll do a public void onTriggerExit as well. So we make a reference to our tilt brush model. Tilt brush model dot set active, and we'll set that to true when the trigger has been entered. And we'll copy that line and set it to false for when the trigger has been exited. And to make sure that the object is turned off at the start, we'll copy the false statement and add it to the start function. And Control S to save that one. Then once Unity has loaded that in, we will go to our Activate Cube and drag the script onto it in the inspector. We'll then find our Tilt Brush model and quickly call it Tilt Brush model with F2, and then drag it into the slot on the script. Great. So if we go into play mode now, play mode, when our sphere enters the cube, it will enable and then on exit disable the Tilt Brush model. It's a bit laggy there. So a couple of things we noticed when we went into play mode then. For some reason the tracking level had reset to eye level, so we will just change that back to floor on the OVR camera rig. And we can see the spheres on the controller. Now, it's not something we want to be able to do. We don't want to be able to see it. We just want the functionality of it. So if we click on the object left sphere, and then click on the tick box next to the words Mesh Renderer, we are then able to disable being able to view the sphere, but it's still there as a virtual object. So now if we go back into play mode, we should be at the right height, and we're no longer seeing spheres on the controller. Great. So we will just do something slightly different now. We will add some tags to our on trigger enter so that only certain objects are able to trigger it. So we will write if the other colliders tag equals right hand, we will set the object to be active. And if the other object's tag equals left hand, we will set it to be inactive. And we'll just copy that from the on trigger exit we'd already set up. And with the double backslash, we comment out those bits that we no longer want. Just leave them there for now. Control S to save. So we will now just add those tags to our objects. So make sure the right sphere is selected. And under the tag drop down, click add tag, and click the plus button, and add our new tag name, which needs to be exactly the same as we've written in the code. So right_hand, click on the sphere again, and in that drop down menu, we've now got right hand. And do the same for the left. Drop down menu, add tag, plus arrow, left hand. Re-click the sphere and select left hand from the drop down. So now that's set up. When we touch the cube with our right hand, it will activate the Tilt Brush model, and when we touch it with our left hand, it will deactivate the Tilt Brush model.